In a world of increasing mental health challenges, psychology and faith can both provide tools for healing and wellness. This is the idea behind Journey on My Mind. Each episode, our panel of pastors and therapists sit down together to share their experiences and insights on the modern world's mental health issues: depression, loneliness, aging, addiction, and so much more. Join us now as we explore what it means to thrive at the complex intersection of spirit and psychology.
I think our ratings would go way up if we did that.
Pixelate that face.
For all of us, though.
Yeah.
Not just, this is
all right.
Nothing personal.
No, it isn't. All right, welcome to a comeback version of Journey on My Mind. We've been absent for a couple of weeks, and we apologize, but we've gotten our act together. We're back together. 3 white guys behind mics.
Which should be the name of about 90%
yeah, I know, that's true.
of the
Every
podcast out there.
should be.
Yep. 2 pastors and a psychologist walk into a bar. That's a different podcast. But we are so glad that you've joined us and being patient with us and getting us back on track. And we will be doing a couple of shorts. We'll be doing a couple of different things so that we can get our rhythm back on this podcast. And we look forward to discussing mental health and spirituality.
We've had a good reason or two for not meeting. Sam has been...
I was on the road for about a month.
Say that. Talk about it.
Yeah, so I was out with, it was called the Awakening Tour. It's kind of a worship tour. So we did like 16 shows, and it was a lot of fun. So, but
you were working with
Food for the Hungry, which is a missions organization that I go do usually one tour a year with, and kind of stretch some other muscles. You know?
And most of the time when you go, you're going as a musician, also representing Food for the Hungry, but this time you were just...
Well, a lot of times, like, it just depends on the tour. Most of the time, I'm not going to play. I'm just going to represent the org. But I've also I guitar teched for Switchfoot last year.
Gotcha, yeah.
So I kind of double dutied that. But so it's a lot of fun. It just kind of, when you've been on the road for a chunk of your life, you miss it. There's something about it. And so...
What's your favorite part of it?
Being on the road?
Yeah.
I think... golly.
Sleeping on the bottom bunk.
Yeah, I do like, I sleep really well on a bus.
Do you?
Yeah, every time but this tour. I said when I came home from this, I'm like, I feel 50. I felt 50 for the first time.
Which is sad because he's only 40.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
I'm in real trouble.
Yeah, wait till you hit 50.
That's right. No, but it was so fun and refreshing. So I love being out. There's kind of this cool communities that develop out there too, and so it's kind of like relationship but drinking from a fire hose, because you're together all the time for like a month, so it's like a year's worth of relationship in about a month,
Man,
so
is it harder or easier to be away from your family now, or same?
I think for now it's harder for me. I think it was just part of what it was such a part of, you kind of put your head down and you just go, and it's just the rhythm that is what it takes. And so, but that was 250 days a year doing it then. So
wow, that is a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. Now I do maybe 15 or 20 shows a year, you know, so it's much, but being away, because I'm so used to being home, and I've gotten spoiled on, I get to come home to my wife every night and my kids, right? Like, so I miss that when I'm out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you know how we have to make all shows somehow connect to my magic show.
Oh, yes.
I was going to say. Yes.
But I will say
your residency.
My residency.
In North Carolina.
Sam's wife came to my show. He was on the road, and somehow, magically, she was picked at random.
Yep.
She picked a random letter. She picked a random gift. That everything was random.
Yeah.
And it was a personalized, handwritten letter from Sam to her.
It's crazy.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was really,
Magic Man.
That is a great.
She was moved by it.
Not
it was
only
a great
moved,
letter.
like she was in tears.
Yes.
Like, it was really potent.
It was a good letter.
So, yeah.
Very fun.
Yeah.
I've also been away. I've been touring on the road.
And
we are doing 250 shows a year now.
The residency in North Carolina.
It's big.
Right.
It's big.
It is.
No, actually, I was in. I don't know if
You went to Italy.
Since
No, we
Italy,
haven't.
but I went to Italy for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Fantastic. Went to 4 cities: Venice, Bologna, Florence, Rome. And then when we were in Florence, we went out to Tuscany and Pisa, all the fun stuff out there. Super duper fun. Favorite was Florence, but you could spend like 2 weeks in Rome and not see everything.
I wasn't a fan of Rome.
Really? I've never been to, like, that's a bucket list place for me. I think just because so much history.
I did like it.
You did? You liked it? Yeah,
I did. I like Florence better. But,
but
yes.
Is the Colosseum as big as
it's massive. Bigger than you think.
Really?
It is massive.
Yeah. Like our stadiums today.
Bigger. Wow. As big or bigger.
Okay. Wow. That's
Would you
nuts.
say? Yeah. I mean, it's like they can put 80,000 people max.
Oh yeah.
Well, they would do like naval battles and stuff in
right.
Place.
They would do that.
Fill it with water, like crazy. Cool.
There were different numbers of how many people, but I think it maxed out at around like 70 or 80 or something like that. It was some huge
ridiculous
number.
amount of people.
Nuts.
Yeah. It is a marvel.
A spectacle. Yeah.
Yeah. And then right beside it is the Roman Forum, and you can't even describe it. It's like a ancient ruin amusement park. Or something. I don't even know how to
through there. Yeah, that was amazing. And then right next to that is a Taco Bell.
Okay, what?
Joe,
which was the most important part for Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, look, a Taco Bell.
Oh, good. Something he can eat.
And you think I'm kidding, right?
No, I know you're not. That's the best part.
How did you get that spot? I literally said to myself, how did Taco Bell get that spot?
Oh, there really is a Taco Bell right there. Yes. That's the best.
I'm like, that's impressive. I like somebody laid down some cash for that.
Have you done anything fun in our absence, Kevin, besides?
We went to Sonoma for about 4 days.
There you go.
Yeah, it was great. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Seems like it needed to be longer.
Well, it probably was.
What about the New York Marathon? Didn't you go out there?
Oh, yeah. Went to New York for my daughter ran in the New York City Marathon.
Yeah.
So we were there for that.
Did she finish?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
She did pretty good,
she
right?
Well, there were 55,000 runners.
Right.
She came in around 40,000th.
All right. That to me would be
insane.
great.
That's amazingly
I would
good.
Be like,
You decide. You know, she was thrilled. Great. She hit her marks. She was trying to run 11-minute miles, and it came out to more like 11:45.
Which is killer.
Because there was one spot where it was like, oh, I'm going to die now.
Yeah.
16-minute mile in towards the end that kind of did her in.
And at the end, uphill. Like that.
Right. Yeah, so dumb.
That's rough.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is.
And I had the privilege of watching my 6-year-old granddaughter, and we watched Shrek.
During the marathon.
Yes. Well, we went and saw it for a little bit, saw Mama run by, and then she was like, well, what do you want to do, Papa? I said, whatever you want to do. And she said, let's watch Shrek. And I said,
yes,
I'm in.
That's what we're going to
do. Wait, but that was your first time seeing Shrek,
No,
right?
I've seen it
you have. Oh, it was her first time seeing Shrek.
Yeah, she loved it. She laughed at everything I didn't, and I laughed at stuff she didn't. And she kept saying, why are you laughing, Papa?
That's the beauty of Shrek.
Yes.
It is. I don't understand the impulse to want to run 26 miles.
Point two. Don't forget the point two.
Yeah. I don't like I've run a 5K cumulative in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you add it all up over the entire lifespan, I think
I need a reason. Something needs to be chasing me.
Right to the bathroom.
I'll run when the bear chases me. I will run when a tiger's after me.
That's right.
But
I respect the heck out of it.
It's amazing.
And I admire it, and I'm impressed, but I do not, there's not, whatever that little gear is in your head that says, I think that's a good idea.
My dad was one of those. He was a marathoner. Yeah. He ran a lot of halves, and he did a few fulls, but crazy.
We at some point need to talk about
the psychology of that.
Of running.
Not just running, but of people who do these extreme things that are physically challenging.
Yeah.
Because there is not any molecule in my head that wants to do any of that.
That was called growing up for us.
For you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've had a spinal fusion and jacked up.
Welcome back to Journey on My Mind.
All right. Back on task.
There we go.
So I would
Where do you want to go, Dave? You're going to interview us.
I'm going to interview you guys today.
Yes.
And I actually think I'm very curious about this topic. I've been thinking about what mental health issues are showing up in the church. Mm-hmm. I assume in some ways that it's, a microcosm of a larger culture, but I want to ask first what you guys are hearing, because you're front line. People are booking appointments with you, as it were, on a weekly basis, daily basis. Mm-hmm. I want to ask about what you're seeing now. And then next, I want to talk about, does that seem different or more or different, contrasting with in the past, how those past and now. So let me ask Kevin first.
Okay.
What kinds of themes are you hearing now?
Mostly in the circle that I have been meeting with people in, it is a loneliness is an epidemic. And with that comes this, I don't feel connected to I meet with the people that are migrating into our church often. So I meet with them and they go, I didn't feel connected to my last church. I didn't know how to meet people. I didn't know how to get beyond I go on Sunday morning and now what? And they would say, it might be me, it might be the church, it might be a number of things, but I don't know how to get beyond the surface with people. So I feel lonely. Lonely would be one of the higher, they might not even said lonely, but what they're describing is loneliness, isolation.
I'm lonely, disconnected.
Yeah.
Disconnected, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I'm hearing. The other thing I'm hearing is a lot of anxiety around culture. I don't know what to do with what is a perceived rise in violence, whether it be around guns in schools or, I'm fearful that my kid will get shot at school, or if it's the rise of just the rhetoric of our political realm. But there seems to be a high dose of anxiety and fear for insecurity. And honestly, we see it here we have a little school that meets, it's a homeschool co-op kind of deal that meets at our church. They rent from us, but they've got a security guard that walks around here with a gun. And then on another day, one of the parents pays to have Brentwood police here. So there's a double dose of that I go, there's something that elevates, and it's not just them. It's generally a feeling that I would say is psychologically present with most people right now that I encounter. And yeah, those are probably the two primary ones that I'm encountering. Does that help?
No, it's great. Yeah, that's a great answer.
Good.
Yeah. I'm going to judge your answer.
Okay.
And I judge it well.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Those are the things I pray about for people probably the most.
That's super helpful. That's good. They're so meaty already.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, same question.
Well, Kevin, you grabbed a
Did
couple.
I steal two
No,
of them?
but those are two. I think
Great,
they're
Kevin.
there.
Now I judge your answer differently.
Yeah.
It sounds like
me first, Dave.
I know.
Dang it.
No, but I think those are so prominent. I think that we're seeing that often. And I think for me, the last, I've been sitting with couples a lot. I've been with.
You're more into that relational.
The relational side of things, and I both of those are true even still as you dive down, as they find a community, but then there's still loneliness, whether it's relationship loneliness or even inside of the relationship, and disconnectedness with their partner. There's, we partner with Refuge Center, and so, which is a counseling center near here. And it's been, there's a lot of folks who have been utilizing that, know, and so much more so than I ever have experienced. Like, I feel like in the last couple of years, we've seen the recognition of the need.
I absolutely want to contrast
Okay.
that. Is there any other major themes or major issues that come up?
Well, addiction.
Addiction's
a big one.
Okay.
And I know that some of these,
we've
work hand in hand or,
Right.
play together. But yeah, and the addiction broad.
Right.
Everything you can imagine.
Substances and
sex
and
relationship.
Right. We call them process addictions that are non-substance addictions. Yeah. Okay. Boy, that's a meaty list right now. We've got it. So the follow-up I want to ask is, Kevin, you're talking about loneliness, disconnection, and anxiety about culture, particularly perceived rise in violence, angry rhetoric, and so on.
Yes.
Sam, you're saying couples and all of the above for what Kevin was saying in that context.
Yes.
And also addiction.
Yeah.
Have you seen a shift in this? If we contrast this with, you guys have been in ministry for a minute.
Time.
Okay, let's just leave it there.
If you pick a point in time, whether it's 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, are these things more, less, different? Would you have given a different answer 10 years ago? Or,
Well, I'm thinking, there definitely has, I think the anxiety and the fear factor of our culture has definitely gone up. It's ramped up. But I think what propagated a lot of the loneliness and disconnectedness was what we went through with COVID.
2020.
Yeah, COVID isolated people even more. And what was soothing that loneliness went away, whatever it was, because they were stuck in their isolation. And then it became, wait a minute, these aren't the relationships I thought I had. These aren't the friends. I lost all of this, and they don't know how to restart it. I think that's where the loneliness comes from. They don't know how to restart. They don't know how
to re-engage,
right. I lost all these relationships through COVID, and now what do I do?
It's funny you say COVID, because that's exactly where I would go. There was a definitive shift
in the culture.
And of course, when you have a worldwide pandemic, like things are going to change. But I saw people start. What I saw was, okay, I'll just use relationship, like a marriage as an example, like a couple who they've had appears to be a good marriage for 20 years, and they spend a year where they are kind of
in jail together.
Yes. And everything starts showing up, right?
Is that what you call it?
I mean, there were moments, right?
We've been jailed.
But where then, because most of our lives, we're going to work, we're coming, we have a few hours together a day at night, right? Or whatever. Right. And so when you're all the time, I saw a lot of things start to be, people revealing in relationship.
And not just revealing something bad as much as just anytime you put two people together for stretches of time. I mean, I'm sure on the road you love these people, and then there's a point where it's like that
get me away from
feature, that trait of that person is just fingernails on a chalkboard.
100%.
Yeah. And it happens.
But I also saw. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you, Kev,
go.
But I also saw during that people going, wait a minute, I need to take, like, growing up historically, in like Church of Christ, it was much more. I was in counseling. My mom and dad weren't anti-counseling growing up, but a lot of people weren't. It was kind of looked at like we should just pray it away, or the conversations that we've had. But I feel like some of that shift during that, where people were like, no, there actually is a need for to get healthy around these areas too.
We certainly saw it. At the beginning of COVID, we were like, is this going to have a impact on our business in a negative way? Like, are people going to not be able to come into therapy, not want to do teletherapy? We actually saw a spike, absolute spike during. And in fact, it was a huge spike immediately after, as we were coming out of COVID, continued, and then really has kind of
leveled off,
tapered.
Has it
more? Yeah, we're not seeing it back to COVID levels.
Okay.
I mean, things people are still utilizing counseling and therapy services, and I think the stigma around it has
shifted.
Has shifted.
That's what I'm getting at.
But COVID was almost a high. I mean, I think I might have been as busy as I've ever been during that time.
Is the baseline after COVID, like the percentage of people engaging with therapy and counseling, is it back down to pre-COVID, or has that baseline gone up? Like more people utilizing?
I think it's back to before.
Is it? Okay. Wow.
I'm not sure.
That surprises me.
I'm connected to a bunch of practices around the country, and it varies, but some are saying we've seen a decent drop off. Others are saying the demand's still there. I think it's interesting to hear people in different geographic regions.
I was going to ask about that.
It does seem to be different in different geographic regions.
I can think of a couple other times, like over the last 30 years, that I saw a heightened fear. One was around Y2K.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, right.
It was an it was an unreasonable fear.
Yeah, you're right.
And a fear that drove people to do unusual things, which to this day I still don't get. But there was a psychosis with Y2K coupled with Christianity. It wasn't just a Y2K culture thing. It was coupled with, this could be the end.
Well, and all these prophetic kind of
that's what I mean.
Right.
And faith became this means by which to exercise my fear.
Yeah.
And
can you say more about that? I'm connecting with that idea, but what do you mean? Faith became a way to exercise my fear.
Is that my faith was actually driving my fear is probably the better way to say it.
All right.
In that, there's everybody's been talking about when's Jesus coming back? When's Jesus coming back? We made it through 84. We made it through 88. And then there's a whole bunch of predictions, and Y2K fits perfectly with the end of the world, and all these computers are going to crash, and the Bible tells me that this is so. And as the Bible tells me this so, I have to prepare myself for what is about to happen, and I have to prepare everybody else. Mm-hmm. So there was an urgency to gospel sharing. There was an urgency to preppers.
Yeah.
And I found myself in this I was pastoring in this weird place. I would talk to people. So what is your fear that you're not going to get, do you believe in the rapture? I start talking through their theology a little bit. You're not going to get raptured. You're going to get raptured, and you're worried about what you leave behind for people. What are you doing? And because if you're going to get raptured, what are you worried about? Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. You're going to get taken out of this world. But it was the twistedness of that that drove people to these strange, and we had the church was, I think, reasonable in its response, the church I was pastoring at, but somebody came and said, I'm going to donate a tractor to the church that can serve as a way to block things and as a way that you can keep people away from the building, and you can use it as a generator because there won't be electricity. And this person's sitting in my office, and I kind of went, I don't know what to say. Yeah. I thank you, but no.
Right.
First of all, I don't want to keep people away.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're going to want what we have. Fine. They can have what we have.
Yeah.
So there was a fear that somehow the depletion or the scarcity or what was about to happen, that God wasn't big enough to take care of that, or God was behind it, one or the other. So that's what I mean by was driving that
I think
fear.
that's a great example.
And then shortly
after. Then the next year, right?
Yeah, 2001 was 9/11.
Yeah.
And 9/11 was the aftermath of that was crazy. I don't know if you remember. It was, in the church, people were like, God and country. Yeah. We need to go over there and take care of those. I don't know. I remember what they called them, but
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a means by which they could vent their anger. So faith was connected to that because it was about Muslims. It was about people in other countries that because of their radical faith, they did this thing to us, and they wanted to connect the church to it. And fear drove all of it. And I think fear is still a big element of faith and how people just engage their lives.
That's such a good recent history. Right?
Thanks.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Of the church and how within the past quarter century, that theme is just takes different forms. Or latches onto different things.
It's like it's bubbling underneath.
Well, and there is these moments where you see that, because I think you could even, after that, you could go to 2012 when it was the Mayan calendar and people, that wasn't as big, but there were still, there were still people freaking out about that.
Yeah. Isn't that when we were going to get the flood too?
2012? Yeah, there was a movie that came out about it then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, anyway, that it's kind of ebbs and flows in that.
Yeah, but I think fear is what bubbles underneath it.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that it's the same engine underneath it, it just latches onto
Yeah,
a different thing.
versions of it. Yeah, it's it, and I don't know if there's a psychosis that goes with it, but I do believe there's a faith component that drives it. A misunderstanding of how God interacts with the world.
Interesting. All right. So with you're saying anxiety around culture seems different and elevated.
Much.
Addiction seems elevated. Loneliness, disconnection, all these things seem different.
Yeah.
Some of the things with fear have been under the surface.
For sure.
And
probably always will be.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think anger is also there.
and that goes with the maybe a counterpart to the anxiety about culture is that one response. If you think about anxiety, it's either a fight or flight response.
Yep. Right.
So a flight response is pull away and become insular, get the tractor to block the building.
Yeah.
And then a fight response is all the lashing out, the anger and all that.
Right. Okay. I don't know if you've experienced this or not, Sam.
Okay.
And I know you're trying to put a bow on this to some degree, but the other thing I'm experiencing is people are more and more identifying as victims to as what has happened to them as unwitting members of a church or unwitting members of culture and not being seen by the culture. And so they're lashing out in ways that comes across as very angry, and against the political structures, against the political,
because they felt invisible.
unseen. And I think that's what I was trying to tap into with the lonely, is like, because really the cure for loneliness is see me. Yeah. Would you just see me? And I think the vast majority of people just go unseen, and they're angry about it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, good stuff.
Good.
So this gives us a lot of meaty stuff to dig into. Some of these topics, maybe all of them, in some way or another, we've talked about, but I think we can move it even further
down,
around.
yeah.
All right. In a church context, what does this look like? How does the church step up into this?
Yeah.
How do we as people of faith step into this?
Yeah.
This time and this moment well.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, because Jesus answers the question of, come to me and my yoke is easy and I will give you rest. I'm not seeing a lot of that with Christians. Some, but not a lot.
Not as
That's
the
good.
prevailing.
Not
That's right.
No.
Kind of
they definitely are not. So,
okay.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on another Journey on My Mind. We will be doing more.
Coming up.
We promise.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Journey on My Mind. If you enjoyed it, please help us spread the word by leaving us a review and sharing it on your social media. Journey on My Mind is a production of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee. Edwin Rivera III is the show's producer, with technical assistance from Randy Hansen. Grant Opperman edits the show. If you have a suggestion for a future topic or a question, you can text us at 615-861-9503. And if you would like to talk to someone about spiritual or mental health issues, you can email our care pastor, Sam Barnhart, at sam@journeytn.com.